Hey, how's it going? Pubis8 here. Before we actually start talking about why the new burst is better than the old burst, I want to go ahead and go over the overall public opinion on the new burst mechanic, okay? And for context, before we do that, we're going to talk about what the new burst even is. So the old burst was an explosion, blue explosion, sparks flying everywhere. You get like an attack buff, you get a heal, and everyone would be knocked back. And if you were below a certain health threshold, you would spawn in an NPC as well. That NPC would help, it would team with you. This was a mechanic that was implemented previously in order to prevent teaming from happening in the game and such. And recently in the new update, which is honestly like one of the worst updates I've ever seen in my entire life, developer TZOE implemented a new burst mechanic, removing the old one and the NPC. The new burst works similarly, except it's not a burst, it's just an evasive. When you're getting teamed on, you have the opportunity to dodge out of your combo that you're getting comboed in, and you get healed at the same time, and you evade stun and ragdoll. It's a pretty simple mechanic. And the reason why this was implemented was because the old burst mechanic could get exploited in a major way. For example, if you're fighting two teamers, right, and you're getting hits on one of the teamers, then the other teamer can just hit the teamer that you just hit, which would trigger bursts. And in some cases, it would even spawn in a third teammate. And in that case, you just get teamed on by 3 people at once, you know? Old burst was kind of terrible. So TZOE decided to fix this with the new burst, so-and-so, this and that and such. But surprisingly, shockingly, if we take a look at the overall public opinion surrounding the new burst, and it's mostly negative for some reason. Like, as we can see over here, there are some polls TZOE implemented. New evasive mechanic, great, good, bad or worse. An overwhelming majority of individuals voted for 44%, absolutely shocking. And then another poll, new evasive mechanic compared to burst, and most of the people said it was worse overall. To TZOE, this was absolutely shocking. And then blah blah blah, more burst polls and such. Yeah, a lot of people want burst to come back. There's a movement, bring back the old burst. I miss the old burst. Now, in my humble opinion, as an individual who only plays this battleground because all the other battlegrounds are really bad, I would have to say that this is completely stupid. Like, actually think about the old burst. Do you have any fond memories of that burst being used? You probably do, but I don't have fond memories. The most notable example for me is the FSD boss fight. When fighting Sukuna, because we're all shooting him at once, yeah, he would just burst, and you keep bursting, and you keep bursting over and over again. That's not a fond memory, I'd say, right? Some more fond memories of mine, getting teamed on, and then, yeah, I already talked about this before, but just spawning a third teammate for the enemy team because burst was so exploitable as a mechanic back in the day. It's just basically a terrible mechanic, majorly. New burst fixes that though. Like, from what I've seen using the new burst and what you could probably see on the screen right now, while I'm fighting idiots who aren't very good at the game, you can see that for the most part, this anti-teaming mechanic, known as the evasive or the new burst, I'm gonna still call it burst, this anti-teaming mechanic, the new one, it benefits me and it doesn't benefit my opponents at all whatsoever. Comparing this to the old burst where your enemy would get benefited instead of you, it's heaven. It's heaven on earth. It's so beautiful. It's fantastic. It's great. Why? Because the burst mechanic as a concept is meant to be the anti-teaming mechanic. It's meant to prevent teaming. That's why the old burst bad. The anti-teaming mechanic was fundamentally flawed and it benefited the teamers more than the one who's getting teamed on. Whereas with the new burst mechanic, you know, it's not fundamentally flawed because it's an anti-teaming mechanic that actually prevents teaming and doesn't benefit the teamers. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's take a look at some counterclaims. Let's take a look at the people who want the old burst back. Let's take a look at their opinions, read them out, you know, critique them.
The new anti-teaming mechanic is so good. Just won a 3v1 thanks to this. TZOE, please don't listen to the polls. People just want the NPC. Make them a private server exclusive thing or something, I don't know.
In terms of teaming, I much prefer the burst due to how funny it is. It'll be better that if the people who triggered burst was unable to burst themselves while the NPC is active.
Evasives lack any interesting VFX and barely register. There's a reason almost everyone is voting that they suck. We lost the NPC for this.
But teamers can easily burst to their advantage. They can't do that with evasive.
Dude, if teaming is such a big deal, switch servers. The new evasive is way better than the burst, yeah, but I don't want to dash out of a combo. I want to explode and summon a friend to fight with me.
Bruh, people really want hype and aura over fun mechanics, but some people actually like playing JJS. If the solution to burst being trash is leave the game, then burst wasn't good to begin with. New burst makes teaming less annoying, which makes the game fun. JJS isn't just haha let funny ha, it's an actual game. Like teamers triggering burst and spawning teammate number 3 making the game terribly balanced. Terribly unbalanced, he's probably meant that. Shouldn't take priority over yeah, left funny explosion. There's a reason why Z is a successful developer, and the Burst sympathizers aren't. Nice, but Burst was cooler, and Evasive doesn't really hold up compared to Burst. Summoning a random friend to aid you in battle was somehow really fitting for a JJK BG game.
Teamers could easily use Burst to their advantage. They can't do that with Evasive. I want the funny guy, period. Let's also take a look at what my niche community has to say that you should join. By the way, you should join in the link in the description.
Bro, with all the yapping in the Discord server, they're gonna revert back to Burst, I swear to God. No, I don't want the NPCs back. Emoji. My bad for having an opinion emoji. TZ.E just made Burst too cool, so more people prefer it.
So overall, the main consensus I would have to say is that old Burst good because NPC had left funny and boom boom like cool. That is pretty much why people like the old Burst. New Burst is bad because it doesn't spawn a stupid NPC, and New Burst also bad because dashing doesn't look as cool as an explosion. In other words, old Burst good because it left funny, and New Burst bad because it's just a boring dash. Like going back to that Reddit post I was reading about, he's talking about how the new anti-teaming mechanic is much better because it actually allows him to win in team fights and it doesn't benefit the opposing team. And the only counter argument that all these people have is that old Burst left funny, old Burst cooler, old Burst explosion cool. It's so dumb and I don't understand this point of view. Like the people who mainly play this video game are people who have no life and they grind their life away in ranked and they just want to have fun playing the video game, right? And here's the thing, okay, getting teamed on and the enemy opponent getting benefits for teaming on you, it's not really that fun, right? I would have to say. And by the way, the only community with anecdotes about the teaming mechanic that was quite level-headed overall, with an overall consensus, I would have to say is my niche community on the Discord, which you could join in the link in the description. And oh my gosh, post edit, this community, you know, while they are niche, they are incredibly genius. Like I had no bias towards the one that I wanted to win. I put it in the second position. I gave it some weird emoji, right? You know what? And they still came out on top. They still came out voting for what was right in the end, which goes to show just how absolutely fantastic this niche subculture is. So be sure to join in the link in the description. I don't even know what this video really is. Burst bad. That's what this video is. Anyway, if you're a Burst sympathizer, be sure to sound off with actual reasoning and facts and logic as to how having bursts would benefit the game, rather than it just be a funny burst that looks cool and new evasive looks boring. I need more evidence and such. Because while Shenanigans has always been like goofy battleground, so goofy, so funny, so silly and such compared to every other battleground, I think we should also prioritize having actual fun while playing the video game rather than having mechanics that have no substance that benefit the evildoers of the world and choosing to keep those evil, terrible mechanics for the sake of left funny memes and such. We need actual reasons as to why we have things in this video game. Like everything has a reason. Being funny isn't the only reason it's in the game. It's a reinforcing factor that makes the game even better. Anyway, that's about it. We shouldn't revert to the old Burst. If you revert to the old Burst, I think I actually blow my brains out. I'm pretty sure I do. Because this update as a whole was not good. People were calling this the best update of all time. This update sucked so much. There's so many things that I hate. And I'm not having a good time at all. But the new Burst mechanic allows me to have fun, which is a overall W of the world in which we live in. That's about it though.